You might not guess from their tame 2D cave paintings, but the ancient Egyptians like to tell some seriously messed up myths. They've got all the essentials: booze, blood, and jerkin it. If you thought that the essentials were food, water, and shelter, then you, my friend, have been reading the wrong myths. And if any mortals actually managed to survive the constant barrage of nonsense from above, Egyptian lore said that you had to get your soul weighed by a fucking feather, by a pitiless demon with a dog for a head. And if your soul is heavier than the feather, you go to hell. So I hope you can hear me in hell, every dude who ever lived in ancient Egypt, because I am about to seriously bastardize your entire canon up in here. So there is this dude named Ra. This dude does not exist, at least not at the beginning of the story. All there is this totally boring infinite water called Nu. But then Ra, who, remember, doesn't exist, is like, this sucks. How about I create myself using pure willpower? So now Ra is standing around, except actually he is not standing. He hasn't invented standing yet, and anyway, there is no place to stand, so Ra's like, okay, time for some terrain features. Let's start with the ones that look the most like tits. So he makes a hill and he stands on it, and later someone builds a temple, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. So Ra gets pretty bored seeing as how all there is the entire goddamn universe is a hill and some water. So he hangs out for a bit, waiting for other awesome dudes to will themselves into being, but they don't. So he's like, man, you guys are so lazy. Fine, I'll make my own friends. But there's a problem, because although Ra can make hills and also himself, he apparently can't make people. Sexual reproduction is ruining everything, as usual. But Ra does not even give a shit. He just goes right ahead and fucks his own shadow until he gets pregnant. Then he gives birth to kids out of his mouth in the two least classy ways possible. Yes, guys, if Egypt is to be believed, you are all either descended from spit or puke, depending on whether you are a boy or a girl. See, Ra has two kids. The phlegm kid is this dude called Shu, the god of air and stuff. Meanwhile, the vomit kid is a chick named Tefnut, goddess of moisture. Not water, mind you, but moisture. Which makes sense of the whole vomit thing, I guess. Anyway, Shu and Tefnut get together and by their powers combined, manage to be exponentially more bored than even their omnipotent father could have imagined. So they're sitting around and they're like, hey, want to hit each other with bricks? Oh, wait, bricks don't exist. Just like absolutely everything else other than hills. Fuck it. Let's just make up some code of laws and then get lost. So they make up some laws and then they get lost in the middle of an endless ocean fiasco, which is kind of like SeaWorld. If SeaWorld is everything everywhere, and there's no shampoo, and there was no amusement park or hot dogs or whatever, it is actually just the water part of SeaWorld. And there are only three people live there, and two of them are lost, and they're made of spit and vomit. Actually, that last part sounds a lot like SeaWorld. So Ra's like, guys, I fucked my own shadow so I won't be lonely. Come back. And then he takes out his one eye. By the way, he only has one eye. And he's like, hey, eye, go find my kids. So it does, and it brings him back to Ra, and he starts crying, either because he's so happy to have his kids back, or because now he has to raise kids. But the myth is not clear on whether he puts his eye back in before he does this, or whether it is just this weird floating sadness orb. But that is not important at all. What is important is that those tears hit the hill Ra made, and they turn into people, and then Shu and Tefnut start phoning like siblings do. They pop out this kid, Geb, the earth, and Nut, the sky. Those are extremely large babies, no lie. Hey, that rhymes. Then later, Geb and Nut give birth to all the Trinity gods like Isis and Osiris and whatever, and things proceed pretty much as would be expected, with a lot of murder and sex and stuff. So basically, what it all comes down to is that we are made from tears from the disembodied eyeball from a guy who fucks his own shadow and surrounds himself with spit and puke. I'm gonna go cry now. I hope it doesn't turn into babies. So Ra creates the world. Sure, great, but just because you create the world doesn't mean you get to just be king of it forever. I mean, you get to be king of it for a while. Like, for example, what Ra does is as soon as he's done creating everything, he turns into a dude and becomes king of Egypt. But the problem with dudes is that they get old. And the problem with old dudes is that they are constantly getting guff from all directions. And the problem with being a god is that you are constitutionally incapable of taking any guff whatsoever. So naturally, when everybody starts laughing at Ra's old hair and senility, he gets real pissed. And when you are a god and you are real pissed, there's only one solution, my friends: genocide. So basically, what Ra does is he turns around and gives Egypt the world's deadliest stink eye. This eye is so stinky, it produces an entire new brand of goddess. The goddess is named Sekhmet, and she is basically a lioness with chainsaws for legs. Sekhmet, the original Thundercat. Sekhmet's job is simple: kill everyone. So that is what she does. She just tears all around everywhere, mauling the ever loving crap out of people until the ground is like permanent red, which is disconcertingly tacky. Eventually, Ra wakes up from his old man sleep and he's like, "Whoa, where did all the people go? Damn, I feel kind of bad now." Gods are always doing things like this in case you haven't already noticed. But the problem is that by now, Sekhmet is an unstoppable murder engine. But the good news is that there is one thing with the power to stop an unstoppable murder engine, and that thing is booze. So what Ra does is he gathers up all this really good beer and all this really good red food coloring, and he mixes it all together and he dumps it all over the fields that Sekhmet is scheduled for murdering the next day. So that when she shows up, she just sees a big lake of what she can only assume is blood. Blood that smells like booze. So like the blood of really drunk people. And she's like, "All right, looks like murdering is done early today. Time for my second favorite pastime, devouring the blood of the innocent." So Sekhmet just dives right in and starts slurping the booze blood, which is such good shit that everyone calls it the sleep maker. And because of that, she ends up passing out pretty quick, and she wakes up all hungover, and Ra's like, "Ha ha ha! From now on, you will be known as Hathor, and the only thing you will kill people with is kindness." And basically, whatever Ra says just immediately happens. So that's who Sekhmet becomes from then on. So obviously, the moral of the story is that the best way to deal with a rampaging psychopath is to get them really, really drunk. So time passes, and now Osiris is the king of the gods. He thinks he's hot shit with his godly appendages of whole box swathes of blouse. But meanwhile, there is this dick, Set. That is his name. Set. I'm not talking about some kind of dick set such as you might purchase for an adult tea party. I'm talking about the Egyptian god of the desert and also storms, darkness, and chaos. But basically, if you are not having a good time, Seth is right there flipping you off with both hands while jacking off with his third hand? Or maybe with a hand he stole from a baby. What I mean is, Seth's a dick. The reason I mentioned Seth is that he gets all butthurt over not being king of the gods, so he has this great plan, which he makes this coffin out of wood, which is like tailor made for Osiris, basically. And then he calls up the gods, like, "Hey guys, you should come over. I'm having a weird coffin party." And then all the gods are like, "Oh shit, weird coffin party. We'll be right over." So they all get there, and Seth is like, "All right, I made this coffin. Whoever fits perfectly inside it gets candy." And of course, all the gods think this sounds like an awesome idea, so they all take turns trying to get into the coffin, and they all fail. But when it's Osiris' turn, and Osiris is like, "I don't know, guys. This seems like a transparent ruse," but then he gets in the coffin anyway, and it slams shut some locks, and Set lines it with lead and throws it in the Nile River, and everyone is like, "Whoa, major coffin party foul!" And Set is like, "So I get to be king now, right?" And he does. So naturally, Osiris' wife Isis decides to go find him so she can at least bury him properly now that he is drowned. And she finds out that the coffin is floated all the way to Byblos, which is actually just Lebanon in disguise, and gotten absorbed by an oak tree, which got cut down and used to build a support pillar and a palace, for the king of Byblos. Shit! So Isis shows up in Byblos like, "Hey queen, my husband is embedded in your palace. May I please extract him?" And the queen is like, "Sure, go ahead. It's not like he's a major structural support or anything, right?" And Isis is like, "Ha ha, sucker." And she goes and removes the pillar without damaging the palace at all, thus invading Jenga. Except, except instead of delicately placing the coffin on top of the palace, Isis takes out Osiris's body and drags it back to Egypt and buries it in the desert so he can finally rest in peace, apparently forgetting that Set is the god of the desert. So Set very quickly sniffs out Osiris's grave and is like, I haven't fucked with this guy enough. How about I tear him into 14 pieces and then eat his dick? So that is what he does. And he chucks the other 13 and he chucks the other 13 pieces all the fuck everywhere. And then Isis is like, what is that noise? It better not be my husband getting ripped up and thrown everywhere. But it is too late. It has already happened. And Isis is just like, and Isis finds out and she is like, seriously, I just buried this guy. Now I gotta go find all those body parts and then bury them again, even though Seth will probably just find them all again and rip them even into even smaller pieces. Anyway, she manages to find all the pieces, which have turned into full moons, by the way, except for his dick, because, god damn it. Because, like I said, Seth ate it. So Isis is like, man, Osiris's dick was the most important part of his personality. So what she does is she makes a gold cock and she hangs it around her neck, and bam! Osiris is alive again with a golden dome, thus laying the groundwork for Mike Myers' cinematic triumph gold member. And also getting Isis pregnant with Horus because I guess that dick necklace was more potent than she bargained for. So, ladies, I guess the moral of the story is don't wear a cock around your neck because unplanned pregnancy is the worst accessory. So Osiris is back in action and his dick is more blinged out than ever, but all is not well because as soon as Osiris gets resurrected, Isis gives birth to this dude named Horus. Actually, that is not the bad part because Horus is a pretty cool dude, honestly. Now, see, the bad part is that seeing is that Seth was totally willing to eat Osiris's dick just to prevent him from getting a proper burial, all signs point toward he is gonna murder the crap out of this baby. Especially since Horus is totally fated to murder Set if he ever gets old enough. So Isis is pretty careful about keeping her baby away from murder, but then one day Set is like, hey Isis, come on into the spinning mill. And then Isis is like, spinning mill, hooray! And Set is like, oh, did I say spinning mill? I meant wretched imprisonment forever. I'm sorry for the confusion, just kidding, totally not sorry. So Isis is understandably upset about this, and so is this super wise dude named Thoth? Toth? So it comes down and it's like, hey Isis, how would you like to escape this prison? And Isis is like, I would like that a lot. So Thoth is like, boom, you got it. Here, have some scorpions. And Isis is like, what? Why would you give me scorpions? And Thoth is like, chill out. These scorpions will guide you to safety. I'm the god of wisdom, okay? I got this handle. So Isis takes Horus and then they follow these 7 scorpions for like a week. No one has any idea where they are going, probably because the guides in this scenario are scorpions. Scorpions are not the ultimate guides, my friends. They are fantastic at stinging the crap out of you, but I feel like they are not known for their sense of direction. But after a lot of bullshit, Isis and the Scorpions and Horus finally arrive in some town, and then Isis goes and knocks on the door of some rich chick's house, and the rich chick is like, oh, hello there, holy shit, Scorpions? No, 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 no! But no sooner has the rich chick slammed her door than this poor chick is like, hey there, I see you have some scorpions. I'm so poor that I have even pawned my fear of death. Come crash in my hovel. But then plot twist! The scorpions all throw a fit about not being invited into the other house, so they go inside and sting the crap out of the rich chick's baby. And she hears the baby crying, and she is like, "What is that noise? I hope that's not the sound of my baby getting stung by scorpions. Oh shit, scorpions!" And then Isis hears all this commotion, and she is like, "Scorpions, you are the shittiest guys. Now I have to solve all the problems." So she runs up to where the baby is busy dying, and she is like, "Hey, Poison, get out of that baby." And the Poison is like, "Man, fine." And then Isis leaves, like, "Another day saved, thanks to me, and no thanks to these scorpions." And then she ends up in the marsh she was supposed to check out, and she hides Horace in the mud, like, "Okay, son, I'm gonna bury you in marsh filth now, among poisonous animals, some of which I know to be irritable scorpions, so just try not to move around too much. I'm just gonna go get burgers." So Isis comes back later, and she is like, "Hey, Horace, would you like some burgers?" You don't seem to be moving at all or breathing or anything. Oh, no. Set, did you turn into a snake and poison my baby? And Set is like, yup. And Isis proceeds to scream the most heavy metal scream possible. It is so metal that it stops the sun, or more accurately, the sunboat. And Ross just chilling in the boat with all of his hookers and stuff. And it stops all of a sudden with one of those record scratch noises you hear in bad teen movies. And everyone is like, "What?" Dolph, go find out what Isis is angry about. So those whatever Dolph goes down there like, "Woman, I hooked you up with scorpions and everything. What now?" And Isis is like, "Look, I know you were itching to get your bone on in the backseat of my son boat, but could you do me a solid and just provide my son real quick?" But and Dolph is like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Done. By the way, how are those scorpions? Pretty sweet, right?" And Isis is like, they were a pack of angry scorpions that you gave to a single mother with a child. Anyway, Horace is alive now, but he and Isis still have to hide out in the marshes while his balls gather sufficient mass to allow him to murder Set. So basically, the moral of the story is that scorpions are good for one thing, and that one thing is rat tattoos. Okay, I'm just gonna give y'all a heads up right now. This is actually the last. This is actually the last myth in the section, and it's the grossest one. I'm just gonna come out and say it. So if you're a bit partial to bodily fluids being exchanged, now's the time to leave. Don't worry, I won't judge you. So for those of you here, let's get through this last short section, shall we? Great. So Horace grows up, and Isis is like, "Hey son, remember that asshole Set, the one who you are destined to ruin?" And Horace is like, "I mean, you never stopped talking about him, and also he turned into a snake and poisoned me to death when I was a baby." That tends to make people pretty memorable when they do stuff like that. And Isis is like, "Well, why haven't you killed him yet?" And Horace is like, "Jeez, Mom, fine, get off my back. Hey, Seth, I'm about to kill you now. Get ready." And Seth shows up like, "Oh no, you didn't." And Horace is like, "Hold still for a second. Let me stab your face." And Isis is like, "Oh shit, stop. I just remembered that Seth is my brother." And Horace tries to break her legs, but then she stabs him, and Seth gets away. And Horace is like, "Wow, Mom, seriously?" But Isis heals him later, so it's fine. Wait, what am I talking about? Shit is so unfun. You could coat sandpaper with it and then use it to shave off a goat's face. Because now Seth is thinking it has. Now Seth is thinking as hard as he can about how to screw over Horace. And finally he's like, "I know. I will use my semen to solve this problem. Hey Horace, want to have sex?" And Horace was like, "Well, normally I would say no, but today I'm an idiot, so okay." And they have a bunch of sweaty sex. But then, right at the crucial moment, Horace uses uses his lightning reflexes to parry Set's man batter. Because apparently it's not gay if the jizz stays outside your butt. Oh my god. Oh my god. So then he's got a handful of banana cream pie. And he's like ew, what am I gonna do with all this? I know, I'll throw it in a river. And thus invents hand washing and pollution simultaneously. So now Horace is thinking about how to fuck over Set. And he's like, apparently the name of the game is get your semen inside of the other guy's body. I don't make the rules, I just make the jizz. Let's make this happen. Oh, dear God. Oh man. So he sneaks into Set's house and jerks off in his salad. And then Set eats the salad and Horace is like, ha ha, you just ate my spooge. Is it just me, or is spooge the single least attractive synonym for dick glue? Anyway, Set is like, bullshit. Let's go before the rest of the gods and needlessly air our dirty laundry in hopes of determining superiority. So they call together the other gods and God damn it. I'm almost done, damn it. And Set is like, guys, I totally jizzed in Horace's butt. That means I'm better than him, right? And Horace is like, you didn't jizz in my butt? What are you talking about? Go ahead and call for your sperm. See where they're at. Yeah, apparently these dudes keep in touch with all their sperm. Talk about being a devoted father. Anyway, Set is like, fine. Oh, sperm, where are you? And the sperm is like, here we are in the river. And Set is like, damn it, Horace, did you block my cock? And Horace is like, that is in fact exactly what I did. Now hold on, let me find out where my sperm is at real quick. And the sperm is like, here we are in Set's stomach. And Set is like, no. And everyone else is like, wow, this is astonishingly stupid. How about we settle this pissing contest with a reasonable competition, like a boat race, except the boats are made of stone. That's perfect, that's not stupid at all. So Set and Horace get their boats ready, but Horace has a secret, which is that his boat is actually made of wood. It's just painted to look like stone, which raises a couple of questions. First of all, why didn't anyone check to see if Horace's boat was actually made of stone? And second of all, since they didn't, why did Set not do this? Does he not realize that stone is the worst thing to make boats out of? I mean, maybe he thinks they're trying to race to the bottom of the lake, in which case I understand either that or he's scrupulously honest. But we are talking about the god of storms, chaos, and evil, who has been known to do things like eat the balls of his enemies and then try to kill their babies. And when their babies grow up, try to have butt sex with the very same baby. So I feel honesty is not top of his priority list. But anyway, they have the race and Set's boat sinks and Horace wins, and as a result, he gets to be king of Egypt, and Set has to be his bitch forever. So the moral of the story is that next time you are jockeying for a sweet promotion, consider jizzing in your coworker's food. But make sure to also brush up on your boat racing just in case. And that concludes this short little segment. In the next video, we are going to cover the Mayan. We're going to cover the Mayan pantheon. And if you actually made it through to the end and I ruined your appetite, part of me is sorry for subjecting you to that, but then a part of me is like Set, in which case, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. Anywho, I'm gonna go put my poor little fire on its little charger, and go take off my face again. Till next time, bitches. I'm Lissa Show, and I'll see you in hell. Peace the fuck is out.